Yo, what's up, everyone? Good something here. Giovanni's in the building,
Mercedes.
and
James.
my man.
No
Oh!
No delay. All right. So, what's the conversation for today, folks?
Talking about Surge.
Surge.
Yeah.
Who's that? No, I'm joking. All right. So today's topic for the conversation is the surge in people and their activity level, right? I typically spend my day now that we're virtual, looking out that window behind us, watching people run up and down the street. I know that there are fitness entrepreneurs and trainers and coaches that are all up and down Instagram and encouraging their clientele to train and become a part of their programs. And for the most part, I can say that it is beautiful to see this new surge in activity in our community. Now, with that being said, I just want to throw caution to the wind in the way that if this is the realm that you're choosing, right? If you're turning to fitness during this time of stress, right? During this time of trial and tribulation, through this experience where we're going through so many different political tensions and things of that sort, right? Don't turn your back to it when time comes back to regular, right? Because clearly it's serving you well during this time period. It is a great, it's a great positive escape for you. It's a great way to develop and hit your serotonin levels and raise your serotonin levels, right? Hit those endorphins, right? Get those endorphins going. So if something's there for you in a time of need, don't run back and run away from it and turn your back when this time period is over. So, James, have you seen people in their surge of running and hitting the road?
Yeah, including me, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I think, still not running a marathon, but yeah, I'm running a lot more than I used to. Yeah, I mean, you're seeing a lot of people work out. You're seeing videos on Instagram left and right of people having great experiences for people. Just talking to coworkers, people that work for me, friends. Everyone seems like they're trying to use their time wisely. It's either they're trying to bake their own bread or they're working out more.
Yeah, bread has become a thing, right? It's like you're either all the way in or all the way out, right?
All the way in.
The only thing I'm mad about is that we can't get any.
Oh, of James's bread?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm practicing. Don't worry. Next month, you're going to be like, look at all this amazing bread and pizza.
Mercedes, have you noticed the difference?
I've noticed a difference for myself personally because my schedule has opened up a little bit. It's busier in ways, but it's kind of succumbed to my fitness schedule.
Okay.
In a way. Medical field's weird. I guess a lot hasn't changed for us, right? So I feel like the people I'm around on a daily basis, those who were working out a ton before are still working out a lot. And again, in the medical field, for some reason, you see a lot of endurance athletes and pretty serious ones. Those people are still, getting at it, still at their routine, missing their gyms a lot. And then for some reason, there's a lot of people that just are against moving. And they're old and strong in their stance. So I don't know if it's, I'm assuming it's because in my world, schedule-wise and availability-wise, not much has changed.
Right.
So.
Now, James, you work in a desk environment, right? Sit at the desk and make phone calls and things of that sort, or even on computer. Now, what do you think? What do you think is the positive to obviously getting active, and what do you think is a great, word of advice to someone that is obviously trying to take this opportunity to go out there and just beat the pavement, so to speak?
Well, as a person that sits at a computer most of the day, it's no longer strange for me to do a couple squats at the end of an hour or work on some stretching and while I'm on calls because I'm at home doing it here. So I'm definitely taking advantage of that. But, we have been talking as a group that we work together in an office where it's like, it shouldn't be strange to sit at your desk and do this when we get back.
Right.
It just kind of opened our eyes to it. But the word of the wise, if you're just choosing to start working out now, and I've experienced this in other times in life, is like, just start small, be goal oriented. You know what I mean? Don't ask too much of yourself. Like, I used to have this fixation that I could still run 2 miles in 12 minutes. I can't run 2 miles in 12 minutes. I've given that up. It's been 10 years plus, and so I think a lot of the time when people start running again or working out again or lifting weights again at home, they want all of it.
Right.
When in reality, like, just be thankful that you have an opportunity to move.
Right. 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 That's a great one. And when you say be goal oriented, right? Obviously, what should their goals be? What should be a realistic goal for someone that wants to get active, and how do they go about addressing those goals if they've never actually worked out?
Well,
and I'm asking you from the perspective of obviously being someone that's in the field.
I mean, I'll just take myself as an example. If my goal is to run 7 days a week, work out twice a day, I'm going to fail on day one, right? Because you're asking a lot, because you still have to work, you still have things going on. There is also this undertone of like, what in the world is happening that you're dealing with mentally. So, setting goals that are attainable,
Right.
In the beginning to get some victories.
Right.
I think momentum matters. Momentum matters in goal setting. If your long term is you want to be able to run a marathon, your short term goal is, let's get through a mile. Let's have, let's not hate running a mile,
Right.
And so, attainable goals that stretch a little bit would be my biggest advice for that, especially if you're coming into this new.
Right. My man. Mercedes, you're obviously, like you said, in the medical field, right? One, it's very demanding, very high stress. You're performing these very detail-oriented, very mentally tuned-in procedures, and you're obviously going through a time period where COVID-19 is very much a very real factor and very fearful, right, or fear-inducing. So the stress levels are high,
Yeah.
the tensions are high. What would be a great word of advice for someone that's just starting, that's in your field, or and what do you think is the benefit of someone that's actually starting?
So I think there's several things. I think that going along with James said, start small. Give yourself really obtainable goals. It also feels good at the end of the week to know that you accomplished those. So it makes you actually more excited to continue to do it.
Right.
I also think even though this is a stressful time and it can be fear-inducing, trying not to associate that with fitness. I think a lot of times I'm guilty of this, I'm sure we all are, of associating something going on in our lives with fitness that necessarily isn't positive.
Right.
Whether it be an escape, even though it's positive that it's our safe haven, what happens is when that stress factor goes away in your life or you learn to cope with it a different way, a lot of times that fitness aspect, you lose the motivator. So you're less in tune with it. Even if you get into phenomenal shape, there's tons of people that go through a stressful time in their life, use fitness as an escape. That stressful time passes, they get into phenomenal shape, the best shape they've ever been in their life. And then all of a sudden there's no more motivator or no more push or no more escapism to go to that, not even gym, that safe place of working out. And I would say right now, there is that kind of danger zone of that. That if you're going to go work out, do it for its benefits. And obviously, a symptom of working out is stress relief. That's what happens chemically. That's what happens when you move. But try to frame it more as that's just something you do for yourself. Because you can always take out that 45 minutes, hour a day to do something for yourself in good times and bad times, and in all times. So I know I've had to do that in my life. That is just, it's just a routine for me. It's more about self-care than anything else that's going on in my world at that time. So I deserve that 45 to an hour and a half of care for myself a day.
James, how would you say, what's your practice? How do you go about getting yourself active? What practices do you have on a weekly basis? Where's
Yeah, I actually was going to add into that, and that's a great question. Something I'm trying to desperately get better at is to schedule my day.
mm-hmm.
So picking actually the right time of when I should go work out, when I should go eat, when I should meditate, things like that. I've historically been, and a lot of successful business people, especially in sales, which is the world I'm from, where we get paid to think on our feet. So the idea of scheduling something almost feels suffocating.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know what I need to do, and I've been trying to get better at it, is actually scheduling it, right? Scheduling when I'm going to work out, scheduling when I'm going to do all these different activities, and then it makes it much harder to skip them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've made a deal with yourself. You see it on your daily calendar. I use a notepad that has every hour drawn out from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Mm.
There's some days I use it. I'm not going to sit here and say I use it every day.
Right.
There's some days I don't. The days I use it, I get everything done. I feel great. The days I don't, sometimes I feel okay, and sometimes I feel very spaced out and hectic. I think it's a super useful tool.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. Now, do you schedule it daily or do you schedule it weekly?
Daily. It's hard for me in my world to see a few days out. We have a growing business. We have my day-to-day working at PLS.
Right.
I need to be very focused on that day's goals. But my thought is I wake up at 6:30. That's when I do it. It's my freshest point of the day. I try to set some targets and some milestones, especially on difficult days like Mondays.
Right.
And that's how I do it personally.
How about you, Mercedes? How do you go about fitting fitness into your life then?
So right now, like I said, even though my work schedule is a little bit chaotic, it's actually been working for my fitness schedule. Right now, I'm working out 3 days a week. 2 of them at 5 p.m.,
mm-hmm.
one of them at 9 a.m. And then that allows me enough flexibility in my schedule that I've kind of tried to get 2 more days in some way.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest factor is my call schedule. As I mentioned in my episode, I like to sleep. So when I'm on 24-hour call, that kind of inhibits the sleep. I try to make sure that it's a little bit of a tricky situation, but those are my 2 days that are kind of like, I may not work out. So if I can't say like on a random Sunday, like, oh, this is my rest day,
right.
because I already know in my week I have my call day. That's slim chance that I may not get to move. And then the day after, that kind of may just set myself up for failure in the way of like my sleep patterns off. It's a groggy day for me. Maybe I have to go back into work. So my focus is just kind of sleeping and then getting ready for that. So I guess I go about it backwards. I carve out the time I know there's little to no chance that I'll be able to do physical activity. And then so I hold myself true to the remainder of those days. Like I don't make an excuse why I can't do something those other days.
That's a great way to look at it.
I love that way, because you're removing the excuse, like I'm going to push it till Tuesday. I'm going to kick the can down the road, which I'm guilty of. There's been weeks where it's like, I'm not feeling it today. I'm going to do it tomorrow. When I don't know what's going to come tomorrow, maybe I won't be able to do it. Right. So you really kind of remove that. That's a really good idea.
Now, how does it feel when you guys actually, for both of you, when you actually get to complete a workout that you have scheduled?
Feels
accomplished.
Yeah,
Accomplished. It's over the last few years, I've kind of looked at working out as like the cherry on top to a good day.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm looking at it more as like the foundation of that day and then the following day. Right? It's not just about that day. It's the mindset it's going to put you in for the next one.
Right.
I'm in a goal-oriented, very hard, day-to-day driven job and sales and logistics. And it just helps sets the foundation of a successful day, a successful week, a successful month, a quarter, year.
That's awesome. Now, one of the things that I definitely want to highlight here is that two things, obviously. So during this time period, our schedules have changed.
Mhm.
Some opportunities have opened up for some people that aren't working as much. For those that are working as much, obviously, you guys have shared some tools that you use to be able to adjust your schedules and fit a more active lifestyle into your life, and some of the benefits that you're receiving from it. Now, one of the things that we need to take heed to is that prior to this experience, as a nation, we were already at a 60% rate of overweight, borderline obesity. And let's not even talk about the line where obesity stands. And then the only reason why we're bringing that up is not to shame, but to take heed to the factor that that's leading to many of the diseases that we're suffering and experiencing as a nation. And most specifically, in the minority culture, I know that your mom had to deal with some issues. James, I know that your family deals with some issues, and obviously being Hispanic, and that Latino, our families deal with some things of that sort and whatnot. And that being the statement, given this opportunity now, it is obviously very important, not only for that element, for that physical status, right, to improve, right, but for the mental wellness of this experience. Speaking for myself specifically, coming from obviously a socioeconomically challenged background, so to speak, or from the hood, coming from a neighborhood that, it was a dog eat dog world, you had to fight to survive and things of that sort. Knowing the mental makeup that you had to have or that you had to show to be able to experience and live through that experience, the mental benefit that it has on you, and chemically, right, releasing serotonin, releasing endorphins and things of that sort. That is a very valuable experience. And I say that to say that a lot of times we put such negative connotations with our fitness experience. Oh, I don't need to look like, or I don't want to feel like, or I don't want to be that, and I don't want to. However, we're not looking at the benefits that come from it. I fear that the benefits aren't highlighted enough, and that the trouble signs and why the benefits are important, because the trouble signs are so relevant, right? And with that being said, this is a great opportunity for us to take that into value, and it is a great tool to get us through this experience, right? Chemically, physically, most specifically now because we're going to be more sedentary, even more than before. So one of the things that I definitely want to highlight is the importance, right, and kind of that call to action, like move your ass, okay, right? It is definitely an opportunity for us to go out and walk and take in some sun, right? Some good old vitamin D, get some positive energy flowing in your body. Wave to a neighbor, even though you can social distance from 6 feet and still have a conversation. And have those experiences. Go call a loved one and go for a walk while you have that conversation. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Um, put into play these little practices, like you said, James. Micro dosing to the point where you progressively grow, right? Go for a walk while on a phone call. Go take the dog for a walk outside in a park outside of the neighborhood. If you have to run to the store for essentials and it's a minor essential, you're gonna get some muscle stimulation by carrying that bag home. Go for it. Go for the walk. Go get the cardio on the walk, and then as things progress, go for a run around the block. Do things of that sort. Kids. I see kids with chalk all day long. Play hopscotch. Play hopscotch.
Make yourself a ladder and do it work.
Yeah. I'm serious.
Make yourself a ladder.
No, but these are definitely great opportunities for us to kind of dig back to that more creative nature of our being, and do things that are helpful for us in that way. And it'll definitely help in the long term. Now, the other element to that is, if you are now taking action, kudos. But also beware, when we go back to whatever the normal standard of life is going to be, whatever the next standard of life, actually, let's not even say normal, next standard of life, life will change. Your practices now will change. Your experiences now will change. Going to a restaurant will not be the same. Working on a daily basis will not be the same. Your commute in and out of work will not be the same. With that being said, there are going to be elements of things that take longer than what they used to take. There are going to be things that are more stressful than what they used to be. This is a great tool to have. Fit it into your schedule. Find a way to take and schedule it out. Schedule a certain mandated time periods of the week, where it's twice a week or 3 times a week, 4 times a week, suggested for, but right, where you're actually 30 minutes a day, right? Definitely find a way to take these practices and fit them into your life so that you can benefit in the long term so much more. This isn't necessary. The aesthetic element of it is just cherry on the top, right? So this is definitely a call to action from my perspective as a professional in the field. And the reason why I became a professional in the field is because I experienced fitness in saving my life in a multifaceted way. And with that being said, I have a firsthand experience with it. So the beauty of that is me speaking from experience. It's not me just saying, oh, I can run faster than anybody, so do it. It is not that. This is definitely an element that saved my life for so many different reasons, most specifically mentally and spiritually, right? So with that being said, take heed to that. Take notice that this is definitely an element that's helping you get by during this trying time, and use it as a practice going forward, because it will help you to continue to elevate your life or your quality of life and evolve as a human being and progress as a human being. And even if you don't have these high standards, and if your life is a certain comfort zone that you want to kind of live, you want to be a family man and come home, you want to play with your kids, you have to have a certain amount of endurance and stamina and agility. As an older person, right? When you're developing and maturing in life, certain abilities are taken away from you. You don't have the agility to walk up and down the sidewalk and kind of, certain things that are privileges and gifts to us, we don't realize it until it's taken away. You don't develop them or maintain them unless you're practicing them and using them. So make sure you're developing those muscles to use those different things. And I think it's accessible now. It's accessible. It's virtual. You can literally have it in your living room. And there's that statement where it's not for me. That's fine. So find out which version is for you, because it's accessible, and use it. Whatever that may be. If it's Zumba your ass off. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, and that's okay. If you like to dance, dance.
I love dance.
If you like to walk,
the barrier of entry's down, right? You can go in. There's no sense of, you can find anything you want right now. The barrier of entry is very low. When you're talking about your family and family's history, I'm very proud of even my parents. My mother watched her mother really struggle with diabetes and some other things. And so way before this even started, my mom became a workout-aholic, right? And working on a local gym. Well, what's been great is my dad's replaced his hip, and maybe he's in all the things he wants to get done. Dad, I'm not putting you out there. I hope you're listening. But what's been awesome to see is every night my mom has my dad going for a longer walk. Each night the walk gets a little bit longer. My dad's looking forward to it. And that's just like one person's energy about the way they're using fitness to getting another person to do it as well. I'm super proud of both of them for what they're using this time to do.
Right.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of what kind of summarize the two, I think this is a really great time for all of us to take inventory, and for America as a whole to get out of denial about our health and our social norms, our social standards, the way we live. If this wasn't a wake-up call to every single one of us, I don't know what is. And so use that as a motivator. Take control over your health, even if that doesn't necessarily mean fitness focus. That can mean so many different things. And when it comes to the minority community, which we're all a part of in some way, I definitely think it also comes with denial. I think a lot of our culture, sometimes when it comes to our health and wellness, is in denial. We use the excuse of socioeconomics, or we use the excuse of, oh, that's just what we eat. We use the excuse of even how we like women to look tend to be thicker, bigger. Okay, well, that also means diabetes, heart disease, and other things like that. If your numbers are okay, then that's just the way you're built. But the reality is not everyone's built that way. And so I think that it's just the time to kind of take inventory. You haven't had a physical, go get a physical. Go find out what your numbers are. Maybe you are overweight, what the standard is. Maybe you're not because your numbers are great. But find that out. Find out the actual facts. And then what better time, like you guys are both saying, you have ample time to make a plan. Make a plan.
Absolutely. And if you have trouble, ask a question. Reach out to someone, a professional, and ask a question. James, as you were saying, one of the blessings of this experience, I got to go see my mom in a drive-by the other day, which is a very awkward experience because I stayed in the car and maintained my social distance from my own mother. But with fear of just obviously contaminating her with anything that I may have experienced. And though I haven't been sick, Mercedes working at the hospital, coming home, we don't know, how communicable this experience is. So with that being said, I went to go see her and she was telling me that our live workouts, she's tried to do some of the workouts. And we're talking about a woman that I've seen in her 40s chase me down the street to throw a chancla at me or hit me with a stick or, just to fight with me, just playing around or play sports with me, but I watched her health deteriorate where before that, she was talking about going to doctors to run tests and she has a laundry list of medications that she's supposed to take. And it goes from every element from mental health to physical health. And listening to the factor that while she smiled and told me and laughed, so knowing that mentally she was in a good place, knowing that physically she was putting herself in a better place, that it hit me here, it hit me in a deep place. And that's a blessing to me, is that I've been privileged with this opportunity to help her in a way that is positive and beneficial, someone that I love and appreciate. And my sister, we've seen her on what could have been very much her deathbed 2 times. And knowing that she's working out with us on live Instagram every Wednesday, and she's calling me and laughing about the experience and how, me and James were interacting with each other, or how Mercedes was holding down the modifications and telling us how sore she is the next day and things. But, that again, mentally, physically, she's putting herself in a better place and experiencing a better element. So, that is definitely, not only can you affect yourself, but you can affect those around you. And that's a beautiful experience. That's a very beautiful experience. So
what we're saying at the end of the day is, everyone say it with me.
Just keep moving. Come on, G. Why'd you put your head down?
It's not gonna happen.
We're getting shirts made and everything. You better.
We are getting shirts, and you're gonna wear it, and you're gonna love it.
I'm not gonna wear it.
You're gonna be so
moving
when this takes off.
Just keep moving.
And you want nothing to do with it, Giovanni.
Oh, Mercedes, sign us off.
Why do I always have to do this? I'm not good at it.
Because you're the best.
You're very good at it. You're the best.
Right?
Okay. Well, if you guys enjoyed this, and more importantly, if you're gonna just keep moving, make sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and make sure you follow us on all of our socials. Listen up, because they're all different. On Instagram, it is _fitness_ethic. On Facebook, it is just the fitness ethic.
All one word.
And on YouTube, if you already found us, you already know fitness ethic.
And as always, again, we're definitely sharing these experiences from the heart. Real people doing real things, live on location, letting you know how we feel and what we're going through. And we're going through the same experience that you're going through, and hopefully our tools that we've been able to use and depend on during this time period is helpful for you. So, sending you great positive energy, much peace, super love, peace, love, stay real, folks.
Just keep moving.
Yes.